decisions is super, super important. Of course, if you want to continue to read, please do. I leave a very good book for you to read. The point again is, you are the foremost authority of your spiritual life. Amen. It didn't even say that in here. Los Angeles, 1995. Third year of rabbinical school, there's a note in my school mailbox which I check obsessively. Later, when cell phones and social media come around, I'll check those obsessively too. Brian, the note reads, Dean Beisel would like to see you in his office immediately after class today. I recognize the handwriting. It's Marcy, his adorable receptionist. I guess when you're summoned, you summoned, I say Seinfeld-like when I arrived, and Marcy chuckles. The inner office door opens. The tall dean in a blue blazer says, Come on in, Brian. Thank you for coming. Of course I came. I was summoned. I sit. Brian, he starts, signaling exasperation. The meeting concerns an introduction to Judaism class I'm teaching at one of LA's 2 gay synagogues. It turns out the dean heard that I taught my class that Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob probably weren't father, son, and grandson as presented in the Bible. As I explained to the class, these are just stories, possibly from different tribes explaining how they came to be one larger, more inclusive group. Brian, the dean says, you have to be careful with whom you share the truth. I realize I'm living in a small Jewish fishbowl, where someone in my class complains to their rabbi that the student teacher questions the reality of the stories in the Bible, and that's a big enough deal for the rabbi to call the dean to then castigate me. We chat for a little till it's time for me to leave. Thank you for taking this in good spirits, Brian. I certainly hoped you would. Well, thank you for admonishing me, I say, smiling. Summons me anytime. Later in life, I'll reevaluate my instinctual desire to fawn and please authority. Hey, I say casually on my way out the door, might you recommend a therapist? I have some things I feel I need to work out. I think but do not say, like how I'm supposed to teach how I'm not supposed to teach what I know to be true. I love the ums. So thank you for those. If any of you want to actually use words, those are good too. This is from the beginning of the book. It's called In the Beginning, Love Saw. Every night when the phone rings after dinner, we say, 7 o'clock, Grandma's calling. I'm 5 years old. My grandma calls every night at 7 p.m. I stand in the living room holding the black metal telephone handset with my 2 small hands. She and I end our phone calls like this always. I tell her, Grandma, I have a secret. She says, I have a secret too. You know what it is, I say in my adorable little New York accent. I say into the receiver, her warm, husky voice intones, I love you, Tatala. It's our little secret. I smile. Bye. I place the phone back on the base. Her secret is the same one she has with my sister and all my cousins. Each one of us is her favorite. And that's an amazing thing I've learned about love. It can make 5 individuals each a grandmother's favorite. New York City, 1978. I'm 8 years old. So you know, just from 1970, if you need to do the math. My sister Sari and I are kids. Fiddler on the Roof songbook with the yellow Marc Chagall painting-inspired cover sits on top of the living room piano. We're singing our favorite duet. She plays and I sing, asking if she loves me. And she responds shrilly, like Golda in the play, and I repeat, do you love me? As scripted, she repeats the question and sings about being busy, mocks me, and accuses me, Tevye, of having indigestion. She calls me a fool. I flatly respond knowingly, I know. Were there an audience, it would have gotten a laugh. But I continue back to the question, do you love me? She responds again without answering until finally she says, I love you. 7 years later, New York City. Ava, the therapist, says to my father, Donald, your daughter expressed that she wants to hear you say that you love her. Can you tell her? Sari, on a break from college, is sitting in the repurposed classroom chair in the Upper West Side bedroom apartment turned therapy office. She looks forward, her eyes wide and unblinking. Dad chokes back tears as he tries to speak. His hand rotates in small circles as though to say, I'm working on getting the words out to say something. His hands go over his glasses and positions his thumb over his right eye, pinky over left. He manages, "You can tell her that she knows her father loves her." Ava, the therapist, "Can you tell her directly?" He cannot. New York City, 1997. "Can you say Louvre?" I asked my buddy Eric, who I've known since we were 2. We're in our mid to late 20s, we're at a bar. He's in a bit of a panic as his girlfriend, soon to be fiancée and later bride, has told him she loves him. And he knows that if he can't say the words back, the relationship will end. So we practice. Louvre, as in love, but with an oo sound, like the Louvre, I coach. Can you say that, as in, I love you, but I Louvre you? We practice until he can get the sounds out, and I'm proud to say he and Pam are still married. Portland, Oregon, 2016. It's my 7th year teaching math. I've gotten pretty good at it, and I love my students. And because they feel my reckless amount of love for them and compassion, I'm their favorite teacher, at least for most of them. It's the last week of instruction at De La Salle North Catholic High School. I gave the students their final early so they could retake it if they wanted to, and so they wouldn't have all their finals in 1 week. Yes, it's a Catholic school. Yes, I'm an ordained rabbi, and yes, I'm teaching algebra. I needed something to do after dropping out of organized religion, and schools are desperate for math teachers. I tell each of my 5 class periods, today and tomorrow, I'm going to tell each of you what I like about you. I'm going to go one by one and tell you something I admire about you or something I like about you. But, I continue, 2 caveats. 1, you can opt out. Put your hand up and tell me when I get to your turn that you want to pass, and I'll skip you, no harsh feelings, that's cool. Caveat 2, these things I'm going to say are the opinions of one 40-something-year-old white male. What I'm saying might not be true or accurate, take what you like and leave the rest. And one by one, over the course of the next 2 days, I go through the room. Having spent some 130 hours of instructional time with them, I know something meaningful about each. Amanda, I see when I look at you someone who's fierce on the outside, a bit scared on the inside. Someone who's brave enough to let us in and let to know her. I see someone who has great hair, someone who seems to know exactly how to make her friends laugh. Tissues get passed. DJ, I see someone who's determined to save the one and only life he can, his own. I see a dedicated son, a hard worker, a poet, an artist. Someone who knows how to put in the hours to get towards the ever-elusive promise of perfection. I see someone who insists on living a bully-free life, and I'm delighted to have met you. Not one student ever opts out. My students are starved to feel seen, and that's not just because of their low socioeconomic status. Most teenagers are starving to feel seen. Most people are. How about you? Are you hungry to be seen? I know I am. It's a human longing to want to be seen, even if we pretend otherwise. Love begins when we see each other. Portland, Oregon, 2021. Last week, my right eye swollen shut from a surgery to remove a carcinoma on my upper right cheek. I biked to the local Trader Joe's to do some shopping. Francis at the checkout counter asked, "How are you today?" Honestly, today, my friend, I'm feeling the feels. I paused to look up to see if she is, in fact, listening. She is, so I continue. I'm having a hard time. I'm feeling a bit vain from my surgery, if you want an honest answer. I love honest answers, she says. Thank you for that. As she scans my fruit, cheese, veggies, along with a decent amount of unhealthy snacks, she asks me which item in my cart is my favorite. The chocolate-covered marshmallows, I tell her, and then I add, though the label on the side is patently wrong. I explain that the serving size is not 2 light and delicious fluffy marshmallows drenched in dark chocolate, but in fact 1 box. I'd like to buy you that single-serving box, she says, and I weep a bit into my mask. Being seen is powerful. Here, now. If in the 1990s you were seated next to me on a flight, you might see me do a variety of one-handed cuts and card flourishes, a desperate cry for attention at 40,000 feet. Were you to comment on my dexterity with the pack of playing cards, which was my hope, I would gladly show you a solid hour of magic tricks. I've since learned that most people have the appetite for about 3 tricks. And sometime after the age of 40, I learned that I had something far more valuable to share. It was what I was hiding behind the cards. Me. In graduate school for education, I learned that classroom management technique. Hand out stickers as an extrinsic motivator. As sticker economy is mainly targeted to classrooms filled with ages 10 and under, but I'm not afraid of an experiment failing, and I figure my high school students, better wired for abstraction, will enjoy getting smiley face stickers in the color of their choice from me, their rabbi turned math teacher. So I carried smiley face stickers and star stickers around, and I give one away when I like something I see. Luis, you get a sticker for interrupting and asking me to explain. Nicole, you get a sticker for helping Matt, and Matt, you get a sticker for asking Nicole for help. Taryn, you were on time and in your seat ready to go before the bell for the first time this week. It's sticker time. What color do you want? Many put stickers on the cover of their binders to almost brag amongst themselves. They love it. High school students want love and to be seen just as much as 10-year-olds do. They're just not as good at asking for validation. How about you? You're an adult, and adults are the same as high school students, but worse. We all want to be seen for who we are. We just, for the most part, stink at asking for hugs, or love, or stickers. I'd like to suggest that we re-examine this default position. Why can't we ask for love? Why can't you be the most effusive, most loving person of all the people you know? What do you have to lose? I would like to suggest that we become more heartfelt, more compassionate, kinder, loving, even if just 2% more. Let us change the world by being vulnerable. Let's peel back the shell to present to each other as humans, allowing others to see us as we truly are, and us seeing them as they are. I see you, dear reader, seeking love, desiring to be more loving more of the time. This book is my box of chocolate marshmallows for you.
Thank you.
So excited to be here. I've been looking forward to this so much, and I'm kind of tilted a little bit towards, like, I've been so looking forward that I need to stop and to just be here for a minute. Because it would suck to not take this in. This is my dream, and it's here, it's happening. I'm going to try something I have never tried before. If you get nothing else out of today, let me give you a quote from the Baal Shem Tov. He said, "Let me fall if I must, I have no fear. The one I am becoming will catch me." I'm going to say it again. Let me fall if I must, I have no fear, for the one I am becoming will catch me. I'm going to try that now. I'm going to do something I've never done before in a presentation. Have no fear? I have some fear, a little trepidation, but let's try something, shall we? Switch to this outline. If you can't see, it's a mess. First, I want to say, we need religion. We need religion to remind people about love. We need religion to remind people to be in community, and that's how we have to get through. So I want to do this live with you, interactive. And I think about my high school students in the first weeks of class. Well, let me tell a story. I had an intern. They gave me an intern, an education student intern. And the education student intern was asked by their supervisor, get your teacher's 6-week lesson plans. And I said, I don't have a 6-week lesson plan. And dear Chris went back to his advisor and said, he doesn't have a 6-week lesson plan. And I get a phone call. What do you mean you don't have a 6-week lesson plan? And I said, I don't know what the first 6 weeks are going to be because I don't know who these students are. I don't know if they understand absolute values. I don't know anything about them yet. So it can't be rote. It can't be 6 weeks already planned out.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of what I'm thinking that we're doing here. Is I want to ask you guys. I have options of things we can talk about. And I thought, what the heck? What if I give you guys some choice in what we talk today? It's a radical idea. Anyone nervous?
A little bit.
Just mainly me. So, if we would like, well, let me I'm going to do a teaching that's not from the book. It's in the book, but I teach it so much better live in person than I do in the book. So I'm going to do that and give you a flavor of what it's like when I'm off script, which I think now you've already gotten some idea. I want to teach you the 4-letter acronym SOUR, S-A-U-R. Can everyone say SOUR? SOUR. Say it with a real rar. SOUR. Good. Those 4 letters are S-A-U-R. Let's do them backwards. I've never done this backwards with a group. Oh my God.
A-S.
Fantastic. Which spells, I don't know. We don't
Nothing.
Doesn't matter.
Ross.
Okay, that's the Hebrew version. S-A-U-R. This is based off the work of Dr. Logan Fox, who died about a year and a half ago at the ripe age of 100 plus. He didn't come up with this acronym. I had a principal of a high school who said you're not allowed to give homework because the kids might practice wrong and then they're reinforcing the wrong things, and a lot of your kids don't even have a dining room table to do homework on, so stop giving homework. So I had to figure out how to teach. Well, that's not true. I didn't have to figure out. Most of the other teachers said the principals here don't last more than a year and a half, so it doesn't really matter. But I took the challenge. And so I learned how to teach something to make it memorable. For example, there are 4 qualities to love, which start with the letters
S-A-U-R.
Great. The first is S, for seeing. The least loving thing you can do is ignore someone. Right? Pretend that they're not there. Just walk past them. That's not loving. Seeing is, I had a barista who had a trachea ring, like earrings. I get eyebrow rings, maybe earrings. Yeah, totally. But like a hoop here. I live in Portland, Oregon. People are weird. So I said, oh look, you have a trachea ring. She knew she had a trachea ring, but I wanted to do more love, so I started with
Seeing.
seeing, S, with the seeing part. Second part of love, S. Y'all are doing really well. There's cookies afterwards. S-A. A is for accept. Saying to someone, I love you, now change. That's not right. Oh, but it reminds me, and you're all ministers, so let me tell you a joke. They say the first thing a bride sees when she's standing there is she sees the aisle. Then when she comes in, she sees the altar, and then she sees him. And they say that's what she's thinking. I'll alter him. Oh. First thing you have to do is love somebody, is to see them. The second is to accept them. Take them as they are. The next letter, S-A, understanding. Understanding is, it's empathy. which we're getting very short of in this world.
Mm-hmm.
Empathy is saying, I love you for who you are, as you are, and I get that you are who you are, and I can feel your pain, I can understand who you are. S-A,
You are.
respond. Love's no good. None of this counts unless you take action. Unless I can notice the trachea ring, I can accept the trachea ring, I can understand the trachea ring, but until I actually respond to it, it's not really love. There's some ways of playing with this. Do you feel the world loves you? Another way of going, so let's go one letter at a time. Do you feel that the world
Sees you.
sees you for who you are? Do you feel that the world
Accepts you. Understands.
right?
Responds.
And you can do it the other way too. That was how we see the world,
How the world sees us.
how the world sees us. That was how the world sees us. How do we see the world? Do we see the world as it is?
Accept it.
Do you accept the world as it is? Footnote, there are some things that are not acceptable.
Yep.
But that doesn't mean you don't have empathy, especially for the people we don't like. We're never going to win them over by hate. Light cannot dispel darkness. Only light can do that. This is a Martin Luther King quote. Some of you might know it. Hatred cannot expel hatred. Only love can do that. Love is our best tool. Okay. That was me teaching live in person. So here's where we have options. I can read you the next section of the book that I plan to read to you about original sin. It got applause this morning. Like serious applause. Just saying. It was a good moment. We can do original sin. I can teach you what I teach adults about God. Because the topic of God is really kind of sticky, and I have a few ways of getting into the topic of explaining to people. For example, do you know the Baylor University 2006 study? No.
Oh, that one.
Yeah. Yes. But there's a study about the 4 different notions of God in the North America. So we have a choice. We can continue reading. I love doing that. We can talk about how we see adults, how to teach adults about this concept of God. I wrote, we can do a free-for-all. Do you have any questions for an itinerant rabbi? Somebody who got out. Or I got one of my favorite things to teach. So we have original sin, God, and how we learn anything.
How we learn it.
1 vote.
2 votes.
2 votes for
How we learn anything.
I'll take how we learn anything for 400, please.
Okay. Let's learn how we learn, shall we?
I wanted to do the God part.
Oh, we got
we
this on
can
the
do God
calendar.
There
next.
we go.
We do
It's
God next.
already here, Jenny.
Okay.
We're gonna learn about it.
All right.
I have in my office behind me, which is always visible on Zoom, is a small little blackboard, and on it I wrote 1, kindness, 2, God. And I say to people, we can talk about God as soon as we're done talking about kindness. We're not done talking about kindness. 5 Stages of Learning by Lev Vygotsky, a Russian education theorist. You're laughing. Why are you laughing? It's a great one. Okay, I'm gonna keep going.
Had you heard of him before, really?
Of course she has. She's an educator.
Oh, that's right.
How we learn anything, okay. Erase the SAUR for right now because I'm gonna use the same space. 5 stages of learning. I gotta move over a little bit further to,
Kept fighting.
yeah, it's 4/5 the space, something math. I never really concerned myself with the math part. I made a lot of mistakes teaching math, and I always said to my students, the kinder you are to me when I make a mistake, the easier it is for me to be kind to you when you make a mistake. Also, they found, they did a study that the fewer degrees you have in mathematics, the better you are at teaching high school math. So thank goodness I never got a degree in that. First stage of learning anything is where we are, except for my friend Annie? Amy. Except for Amy. Everyone is right now at stage 1. Stage 1 is can't do it. Nobody knows these 5 stages yet. You don't know these stages. Oh, we'll get to that. Hold on. First stage, you can't do it at all. 5th stage, you do it without thinking about it. Think about driving. I recently taught my kids how to drive. They're here now. It was rough. Can't do it at all. Stage 2, okay, Emmett, I need you to put the car in reverse. In order to do that, you have to push the little button on the gear shift. Oh, that's the gear shift. Pull it back. See, it's in keep your foot on the brake. Okay. Stage 2, you need hand holding. You need to be told every step of the way what to do. Can't do it. Hand holding. Do it perfectly. We're missing 2, 3, and 4. Bless you.
Was your foot on the brake?
Can't do it. Need hand holding. Need somebody outside of you to give you a hint. Em, did you remember to check the mirrors? You can give yourself a hint. I don't say anything. He goes, oh yeah, I gotta check the mirrors. Can't do it. Hand holding. Hint from the outside. Hint from the inside. No problem. I can do it without thinking. Master. Now there's some really cool additions to this. Sorry, my brain is a little fried at the moment. Can't do it.
Hand holding.
Hints from outside.
Think about yourself right now, where you are. This is pretty meta. Where you are about learning these 5 stages. What number are you at right now?
3.
You're at 3, which means you need a hint from
Outside.
And some of you can do it
Inside.
with insight. You got it yourself. You can hit yourself. You can work your way through it. You don't do it fluidly yet. You can do it fluidly. Vygotsky called this the zone of proximal development, or as Amy and I know, the ZPD. That means that you go from zone to the next proximal, the next stage. You go to the next stage, you go to the next stage, till you get to 5. Here's some really fun facts about this. When you are stressed, you fall down a stage. I was driving, which I do quite easily. I don't have to think about driving anymore. Semi-truck pulls over. I pull over into the shoulder because I don't want to die. And I catch myself saying, okay, Brian, put the car in park. Put the car in park. What stage am I at now?
4.
I'm at 4. I'm giving myself hints because I've fallen backwards one. My students often, for math, could give themselves hints. And then I give them a test. What happens when they get a test?
Go back.
Mister, I need a hint. Well, they call me Mr. Rabbi often. Mr. Rabbi. Mr. Rabbi, I need a hint. I can't give you a hint. Oh, I taught this to all my students, because it's so much easier to learn when you understand how we learn. Fall down a level, we talked about that. Give ourselves hints. Oh, if you catch somebody talking to themselves, why are they doing that?
Give themselves a hint.
Why are they giving themselves a hint?
Stress.
Because they're stressed. It's a clear sign to be extra compassionate to somebody instead of saying, why don't you just shut up? Extra compassion that they don't know. You try to teach somebody, I'm going to show you how we organize the files. We expect them to go for I can't organize the files to I can organize the files without having to think about it. They can't do it that fast. Nobody learns like that. It's slow. My Saturday group, we have a lot of discussions. My Saturday group came up, so here's 5, we added for the ZPD. Here's 4, we added in 4.3. 4.3 is where you can give yourself a hint, bless you, where you give yourself a hint, but you can only give yourself a hint too late. Like, I wish I had said this. Oh, I shouldn't have done that. You're doing it, you're giving yourself a hint, it's just not in real time when you need the hint. Being compassionate to yourself. Let's take that as an example. Are we here? Some people are. Think about for yourself. Do you need somebody to remind you to be compassionate to yourself?
Yep.
Can you hint yourself to it?
Sometimes.
And here's a real nefarious thing. Let me see if I get this right. In order to be good at giving yourself compassion, you have to get to stage 5, because then if you only can hint yourself towards giving yourself compassion when you need it, and something stressful happens, where are you going to wind up? You're going to wind up in a place where you need someone outside of yourself to help you to get compassion, which you can't do because you're... Okay, good. Questions about Lev Vygotsky's ZPD?
What will be on the test?
None of it. Okay.
Self-compassion.
Self-compassion?
That'll be on the
Self-compassion
test.
is the test. All right, let's pick another thing. We wanted to talk about God next.
I like that.
Yeah,
Did any of them pass their driver's test?
Emmett did pass the driver's test. And so did I. The front right fender of the Subaru is totally fucked. It's first time driving, he hit a retaining wall just right outside our house. He got confused which was the brake and which was the accelerator.
Yeah. No clutch.
Oh my God. Let's move over to the God topic. A few things that I like to teach adults about God. Baylor University comes up with that there are 4, I can't help myself, I added a bit, North American notions of God. Conveniently, the what are those called? Acronyms? The
Mnemonic?
fortunately, if it's an ABCD, you don't have to remember anything like sour or anything else. There are 4 different notions of God in the United States. If you look up this study, it is fascinatingly deep. Baylor University, 2006. It breaks it down by what part of the country believes what. Based on gross income, how does your God beliefs change? The first one is authoritarian.
H. Oh.
Stage 3.
I think that's right enough. Okay. Authoritarian. That's Zeus, right? Zeus with the thunderbolt. You had a bacon double cheeseburger. or the heart disease will get to you, but it's an angry God. They didn't come up with the bacon double cheeseburger example, that's mine. Benevolent God, that's Santa Claus. Oh, you had a bacon double cheeseburger? I love them too. Critical. You had a bacon double cheeseburger? We're going to talk about this later. That's God as a high school principal. Right? This is how people, so when people ask, do you believe in God? I'm always like, I can't answer that question. I don't know which God you're talking about, and for that matter, the word belief is problematic. Do you know that the word belief comes from the word beloved? You can see it in the German. Lieben for love. Believe and beloved are related words. If anyone wins any money on a quiz show for that, 10% comes to this church. Critical. And then this is the distant. You had a bacon double cheeseburger? Whatever. Great clockmaker doesn't care. And then I added in E for anything else. A was taken. But I think it kind of works. Anything else? Let's talk a little bit more about adult understanding of God. Let me check my notes. Thank you.
Make it perfect.
Thank you, Jenny. I can't remember whose work this is that I'm about to quote, but it will come to me. Y'all are my age and older. You know how much fun it is. Like, I heard a great analogy recently, which is when we're really little, our memory is like a small library with a librarian who's there. And then as we get older, the library grows and the librarian gets slower. I can't think of who it is. All right.
It'll come.
Stages of faith development. You know what little
Fowler?
kid...
Is it Fowler?
Yeah, James Fowler. Thank you. Extra points to Jenny. Wait,
You always do
I
that.
got a sticker for you.
I got a sticker! I'm putting it on my laptop.
And you didn't, John.
James Fowler, I added one thing to this, but James Fowler talks about faith beliefs. And you remember studying in school Erickson's stages of growth and learning and all
Development.
This is the stages of faith development. When we begin, and I do these in different words than Fowler, but it's all based on his work. When we are little, our faith is magic, right? We believe in fairies, and when my daughter screams that there's a monster under her bed, that's because there's a monster under her bed. She doesn't do that anymore, but she did. We have a world of magic. There are elves and fairies and everything. Okay, great. Magic leads to dependence. Dependence is, oh, you give me a set of beliefs to believe? I'm going to believe those beliefs. Biblical literalists fall under dependence. Often people who get further in education go 180 degrees from that, and they do independence. Independence is saying,
That's not true. Science, 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 sola scientia. I was going for that one.
Ooh,
Folks, they're not all gonna be winners.
give yourself a sticker.
I got that. Independence is, I don't believe any of that. There's, which leads to people who are deconstructing. They're here. It's great to know where they are, and let me show you where their next station is. And it's really helpful to know. It's called paradoxicality. I think that might be from Mary Poppins. Paradoxicality.
Paradoxicality.
Expialidocious. First time I've ever had that happen in this. Paradoxicality is this idea that something can be true and its opposite can also be true. And we can hold conflicting ideas. Little kids cannot do this. You gotta be 13 plus to enjoy this ride. I'll give you the example. We just celebrated Passover in my house in the prayer book, in the Siddur, any which way. We say, I was a slave in the land of Egypt. I've checked my passport. I was not a slave in the land of Egypt. But I can understand that that's not true, and it's true at the same time. My second example of that would be with communion. It's the body and the blood, grape juice and crackers. It's both. We can hold on to conflicting ideas at the same time. Paradoxicality, Fowler tells us, leads to a stage of unity. Now, I don't think of these as exactly linear. When my dad was dying, I found myself heavily back in magic. You know, if I just said the right words and did the right thing, and I know better, but that's just stress will do to you, I think, pull you back a few. Unity is this idea that we are connected to everything. It's a little woo-woo and spiritual, but we all know what it feels like to feel connected to things. That's unity. Paradoxicality gives birth to unity. Here's the one thing I add to this. Thank you. Unity starts to feel a lot like magic again. When teaching adults about God, I teach them this. I show them this. I'm not telling them what to believe, I'm just showing what the options are so that they can put themselves somewhere on the map. Also, and I don't know how comfy you're going to be with this, letting parishioners know that you're not sure about all this stuff either, boy, that goes a long way. I got another sticker for that. Forgot my laptop. You earned another sticker. Okay, next up. Yes, Mark.
Could you maybe unpack a little more what you mean by unity?
Yeah. Unity is a sense of feeling connected to everything, knowing that your life and my life, even though we just met, are somehow connected to each other. It's a little woo-woo.
Well, I'm just wondering if, since you have dependence and independence up there, if you might play around with using the word interdependence instead of unity. Or not.
Give him 2 stars. Oh.
Interdependence. Yeah, I like that. It's not Fowler's words, but it's all right. He's going to forgive us.
He's not here.
Yeah, he cares. He would have shown up.
Well, we get back to magic, you never know.
A good one.
Let me take a break and do a little bit back to reading. This is the part that got applause this morning. No pressure on you guys. I know it's good. This is called Not an Original Sin. This is from a section in my book called The Book of Malarkey. How many of you have written a book? It's awful. There was a day that I came up with the title Book of Malarkey, and I was like, this is a great day, I've written something. And it was just the one word made me so happy. So it's Book of Malarkey. It's my section on deconstruction. It's called Not an Original Sin. My people, Jews, don't do this original sin thing. We don't grow up with this very damaging dogma. We know about guilt and sin. We're Jews, after all, and we have an annual holiday, Yom Kippur, to talk about the wrongs we've done, and we have a litany of rituals to help return us to a path of righteousness. We make mistakes, we have guilt when we have done something wrong, and we can create guilt masterpieces, as my mother. But original sin is a human construct by which many lives are unduly influenced. It is far darker than making an error or feeling guilty. The premise of original sin, that you are and have been wrong from conception, is fucked up. It's insidious. The idea that original sin leads to shame, thinking there's something wrong with your very character, and that's a horrible shame. Were you brought up to believe that your thoughts and you could be impure? Shame on them for telling you that. I can't even imagine. There was no fall. There was no original sin, no ancestral sin. Actions purported to have been done by Adam and Eve do not implicate your life. Look at the text, look at the Bible. The idea of original sin was birthed into the world by Augustine of Hippo, not God. Sinner for all time concept is a 4th century man's gloss on Genesis 3. His thoughts became very popular. After all, it explains why seemingly bad things happen. But it doesn't make it right. The Bible itself never refers to original sin. Moreover, the word translated to sin isn't even in the Bible till after the expulsion from the Garden of Eden. Sin debuts with Cain being told, regarding his jealousy of Abel, that sin crouches at your door, desires to have you, but you must master it. Childbirth will be painful and hard work, yes. Original sin, no. If you want to believe that humanity is broken and deserving of misery, believe it because you have chosen to believe it, not because somebody told you it's in the Bible. Adam and Eve did not disobey God. This idea might be hard to swallow if you grew up believing otherwise, especially if you were brought up Catholic or certain types of fundamentalist. Nonetheless, and no matter what you previously thought, neither Adam nor Eve disobeyed God. Stick with me. Adam and Eve could not have disobeyed God because they did not know better. I didn't punish my almost toddler when he crawled up to and tugged on a tablecloth in an attempt to pull himself to stand. My cries of don't, stop, didn't make sense to him. Why? Because most of the other times that he tried to pull himself up, I had been proud. Was he being disobedient, not listening to me? No, he just didn't understand. I rushed to save him from the crystal bowl that would have hit him on the head and smashed on the ground. I got there in time. But we didn't punish Emmett. He wasn't wrong for his actions. He was just trying to pull himself up. Adam and Eve did not know not to listen to the serpent. How could they know the serpent was lying? They didn't know the difference between good and evil. They didn't have that knowledge. They weren't disobedient, nothing shameful for all time. It's innocent, a lack of understanding. Except pinning the blame on women for birthing evil into the world, that shit's not innocent. That's just plain wrong. Augie, may I call you that, Augustine of Hippo? Let me ask you a question. Is Jesus' craftsmanship shoddy? Well, why do I ask? Well, if the self-sacrifice of Jesus was penance for our apparent sinfulness, if Jesus paid the ultimate price to free us from sin, why are people still filled with sin? Let me answer. They're not. I heard a missionary interviewed on NPR, and he said that the key to selling Jesus' salvation is to first arouse a deep need for it. That is, sell the cure of Jesus dying for our sins. You have to go about convincing people that they are sinners. Oh, Jesus. I cannot imagine the exhaustion or terror of trying to free oneself from an internalized message of I am a sinner. Religion is about becoming, transformation, changing, growing. Free yourself from any voice that tells you you are bad or wrong. Find a therapist or a team of therapists to help. Even if you at one point were broken, that doesn't mean you still are or always will be. A quotation that helps me know I am bigger than the pain inflicted on me from Rabbi Nachman of Breslov. A person should not fall into despair on account of the many blemishes and harm their action caused. If you believe it is possible to break, believe too it is possible to repair. Let me say that again. If you believe it is possible to break, believe too it is possible to repair. Occasionally I hear, Rabbi Brian, I'm so sorry, you're seemingly kind and good, but you're still a sinner until you accept Jesus Christ into your heart as Lord and Savior. What I think, if you're going to tie your theology to a correct set of answers to binary questions, you want to take a deeper look into what's driving your desire for simplicity. You really believe the infinite would pick teams and be petty? I don't say that. What I say is, you have chosen to believe that is true, and you can choose otherwise. As simple as it sounds, it's true. You can choose not to believe that you were born into sin. And what is sin anyhow? My favorite definition of sin comes from Father James Keenan. Sin is a failure to bother to love.
Say that again.
Sin is a failure to bother to love. I got two more parts I want to read to you.
Hey, just saying, my congregation clapped. Just saying.
Oh, I have something better than a sticker for you. It is a wet nap. It's called Grace on the Go.
Grace on the go.
Grace on the Go. Remove stubborn, self-created guilt. Directions. 1, open. 2, feel love. Any questions at this point? Yeah, Mark. Richard. I apologize.
I'm sitting here and enjoying the return to your word. My problem in loving is to apply it to the world situation that I experience every day, and I don't know how to do it. How do I affect the President of the United States who needs to love? Not hate. That's my problem.
It's not yours alone.
Wonderful.
Right.
Yeah. I do think
I need that answer.
the only possible answer I can think of is that we need to put more love out. And even if it's just a little.
And I try to do that every day I live by
Good.
saying, you've enriched my life. And I tell people that.
Good.
Because I firmly believe
Yeah.
and when you leave the situation, what do you hear? Have a good day. How many times do you hear that? Have a good day. Can't you respond to me in a more personal way? Try to do it yourself. Take those words and keep them in your lips and end up saying it to somebody else in a different way. Excuse me.
Thank
You
you.
get a sticker.
I know.
Just really quick, when I say what you just said, when you say it, you say it in a different way, I'm learning from the congregation, I'll say, have a blessed day to everybody.
I'll say this. If it weren't for you doing what you're doing, the world would be worse today than it is.
Yeah.
And look how many good people we have.
We shall overcome. Just not on my timetable. Yeah.
Sometimes people just can't. People just can't. They may want to, but they just can't.
How can I bring that about at this stage of life as to where I am when I'm not in their stage of life
also, you sleep better at night knowing you're loved. It's heartbreaking. This world is breaking my heart too. I hate it. I don't understand why we can't just all, I don't.
But it wasn't that way 5 years ago with me. It wasn't that way 10 years ago with me. It wasn't that way when I was just growing up as a young child. It's me today.
Yeah, I'm sorry, my friend. Yeah, I agree. One act of love at a time. I appreciate your passion.
Back to the lessons.
There's a section I wrote that fits in with this. If I can get back to my chocolate marshmallows. Here. I did not read this. Pull the Post-it note off. Our societal collusion to answer the question, how are you, with anything other than an honest answer is a choice, and a poor choice at that. I'm fine is efficient, but it cuts us off from a chance to connect, to be seen and to see another. We need not cut ourselves off from our humanity, from others, or from ourselves. Why say fine when you are... This was written before ChatGPT, so this is going to be an acrostic from A to Z, and I had to find all of these words. Why say fine if you are afraid, bothered, calm, delighted, excited, frustrated, grateful, hopeful, irate, joyous, kind, lamenting, mad, numb, offended, panicked, quizzical, rushing, sad, tired, under the weather, vexed, worrisome, extraordinarily yielding, or zealous? When asked how we are, we can choose to answer and allow ourselves to be seen. And when we ask another how they are, we can choose to listen and see them. How are you? Fine. No, really, how are you? We can choose to listen to them. However, being open and honest is considered inefficient when compared to the transactional. It is quicker to be transactional, and our culture prioritizes speed. Being real, on the other hand, is countercultural and vitally important if we want to live a more loving, less hostile world. When we are not filled up with the right things, like healthy foods, we will seek nourishment from the wrong things, like an entire box of light and fluffy marshmallows drenched in smooth dark chocolate that the cashier just gave us as a gift. We need to be filled with vulnerability, humanity, and care when we connect with all people. You could have written that. Anyone else feel moved by the Spirit to say something? Or have a question? I got 2 more sections I want to read. We're doing okay? Yeah, Mark. And then
Maybe it's because I'm parenting teenagers.
I feel your pain.
One of the things that I think, I don't think I'm the only one struggling with this, is there's a difference between loving somebody and doing all the stuff you're describing and actually influencing their choices. They still get to make choices.
Yeah.
That our love, we might wish that our love has a certain effect, but that's not really love if it has conditions.
Right.
That then you have to make the choices that I approve of.
I just heard,
Which I'm not saying I'm great at that, I'm just
No.
anything, but
just read Irving Yalom. I never saw his interpretation of the Garden of Eden story, but he said that it wasn't disobedience, it was that humanity seeks choice over anything else, even if we're punished for it. We all seek choice and autonomy. There's one other thing that they talk about in teaching is this 4-to-1 ratio, and it's really hard to do. That's not true. There are 5 stages to doing it really well. The 4-to-1 ratio says that for every criticism or correction you make, you have to have 4 neutral or positive interactions with the person. My son doesn't hold his fork the way I think he should. But if I correct him, it's gonna cost me 4 times of saying, oh, I really like this about you. Or I see that you're wearing a jacket, whatever's neutral. But if the ratio is worse than 4 to 1, why the hell's he gonna listen to me? I'm picking on him all the time. You had a comment.
I was just saying that, thank you.
Okay.
It's just a club. The passion that you spoke about wanting to love is beautiful.
It's beautiful. Agreed. And Richard, it's countercultural to get that emotional in a group.
Yeah.
And I really appreciate you showing us and modeling.
For anybody who is hurt, I apologize.
No hurt, no pain.
That's a sweet thing to add. I'm going to read a section called Kosher Kindness. New York City, 2022. We're at the dining room table at my mom's New York City apartment. Having grown up in this, I grew up having our more formal family dinners and all holiday dinners in this room, decorated with Polish Cirque posters and built-in wooden cabinets. We're in town to celebrate my youngest niece's bat mitzvah. Emmett is surfing the web on a laptop. I'm working on backing up and restoring Jane's iPhone, which is burning through mobile data. Ira, mom's beau, sits to Emmett's left, fidgeting with the camera. Jane sits to my right, helping me. Mom doesn't like sitting. She hovers. I recount the following story about an incident from the bat mitzvah party that day. This is me speaking. Between loud songs and games the kids are playing, a woman I don't know gestures to my hat and says, "So Rabbi, you wear a hat. Do you keep kosher?" I know how this is going to go because I've had this question before. If I tell her I don't, she'll tell me she does, and she'll leave feeling that she's better than a rabbi. This happens a lot. So as I've done this dance before, I don't answer with a simple binary no. Instead, I give a quality answer, one that would teach her something if she were asking to learn. I answer, kosher is more about what comes out of my mouth than what goes in. But she wasn't there to learn. She doesn't register what I say at all, and she says on script, "Well, I keep kosher," and she leaves. At the table, Ira kicks in and says, "Kid, that's quite a good answer there. Good answer, yes sirree, a thinker. Kosher's more about what comes out of my mouth than what goes in. I see, I see." Thanks, Ira. It's a quote from Jesus, actually, the Gospels of Mark and Matthew. Most people never hear that, though. Did you guys know that? Okay, good. Ira plays along. Is that so? Is that so? Yeah, right after the Sermon on the Mount. The best quote about what might be kosher comes from what might be considered the least kosher of all Jewish sources. Mom interjects, "Emmett, look that up." I don't register anything off with Mom's request demand of her grandson, but Jane does. Jane lifts her hands from the table, puts her head in her hands, and momentarily shakes, and then with a half smile says, "Jesus." She continues with a Jedi's ability to not elicit hostility. "Jesus, Elaine, your son's a rabbi, a New Testament scholar. You can believe him." Still exasperation-free, Jane pushes out her chair from the table, excuses herself with a very pleasant, "Oy vey, it's been a fun day. Good night." Echoes of "Good night, Jane" follow. An interesting question, I say to my mom, is whether Jesus said unclean or unfit. They're different after all, and we can't tell from the Greek. Kosher is also about keeping other people from shame. So you know, the word kosher doesn't appear in the Bible until books written after the exile to Babylon in 586 BCE. Early books of the Bible talk about foods being clean and unclean, but the notion of fit for our group's consumption is a later concept. Kosher isn't about things being clean, it's about them being suitable for eating as members of a cohort. About an hour later, still at the table working on Jane's phone, Emmett, my mom, and Ira have gone to bed. Jane wanders back in. "Did your mom apologize?" she asks. "Yeah, later on, she came back in." "What'd she say?" "She said, I wasn't insulting you. I wanted Emmett to learn not to take things at face value without checking them out." Jane tells me that's not an apology. I tell her, "Sure it is. I took it as one." A quote from the author Robert Brault. Life becomes easier when you learn to Life becomes easier when you learn to accept the apology you never got. say that one again. Robert Brault. Life becomes easier when you learn to accept the apology you never got. Did I say two more things?
Yes.
Still two more things. Forgot I wanted to end with that. Practice loving your apparent enemy. Salem, Oregon, 2017. Emmett is 11. Annie is 9. We are in Salem, Oregon, Oregon's capital, for a women's march. Jane and I joke that the kids are learning local geography from attending protests. We, along with others unhappy with the State of the Union, are in front of the Capitol building, which looks like a cross between the White House and a Mormon church. There's a man standing on the left corner across the street with a PA system preaching that we're all sinners. On the right corner, there's a man waving a Nazi flag. Inspired by Daryl Davis's documentary, Accidental Courtesy. You've seen that? If you're taking notes, write that down. Accidental Courtesy. It's a brilliant, brilliant movie.
I was thinking the same thing.
Inspired by Daryl Davis' documentary, Accidental Courtesy, I have a compulsion to go over to talk to one of them. Before I decide which one, I see someone approach the man with the flag and shove him. He falters. I silently root for him not to fall. He stays up. I have mixed feelings about this, but I know my priorities, and violence is never the solution. I cross the street to address the fire and brimstone megaphone evangelist, and I giggle for a moment. I just have a choice between the lesser of two evils. I don't know what I'm going to say until I hear his amplified, slightly tinny voice say, "There's not even a preacher here besides me." Well, that's my entrance. "Brother," I say, "you're not the only preacher here." He moves his microphone from his mouth so he and I can talk, and I say, amazed the right words seem to be coming out of my mouth, "It must be really scary to be where you are right now." We all understand that's love, right?
Yeah.
He looks at me with hesitation in his eyes and says, "It's scary. This is not what I like doing, but it's what I need to be doing." We exchange names and handshakes. "Can I help?" I ask earnestly, but not certain what I'm offering. He says, "Would you pray with me?" Well, I'd be glad to. What comes to mind is to sing a very calm, grounding prayer for peace, O say shalom, the final lines of a 13th century Aramaic prayer with origins in the book of Job, chapter 25. It's beautiful, almost haunting, but I think better of leading with Hebrew and stammer. "I come from a slightly different tradition than yours." Well, that's not a problem. We're both Christians. I'm Christian enough. It gets awkward for a moment. He's now seen my head covering. He hesitates and asks skeptically, "Do you believe Jesus Christ was the only God?" "I hate binary," I say, and I continue with William Blake's retort when asked the same. "Jesus is the only true God, and so am I, and so are you." Wrong answer. Jason turns from me and flips his microphone back down. "We are not gods," his megaphone voice intones. "We are not gods," he says again and again. "We are not gods." "Brother," I say, "I'd sure like to pray with you." "You are not my brother." Jason, you might want to check your Bible." "I'm sure I am." He turns his back to me and picks up again about the wages of sin. I go back to my side of the street and my family, and about 15 minutes later I hear a man, unamplified, shouting at Jason, vehemently. I can't stand idly by and witness this abuse. Before I'm able to get to Jason, a red-faced screaming woman adds her voice to the man shouting. I make my way between the two shouters and Jason and call for a few folks standing around looking helpless. "Let's form a love circle around Jason." I put my arm out to demonstrate. 4 or 5 of us hold hands around Jason and form a barrier to keep him away from those shouting at him, and it is holy. Outnumbered and outclassed, the shouters, the people on my side politically, disperse. Sometime after I've returned to my family, I look up to see Jason walking off with police officers on either side of him. Oh no. I catch up just as he and the cops are parting ways. I say, "Jason, I hope you're not feeling like you were thrown out of here." He says no, and our eyes meet. I see for a moment into his beautiful soul. I imagine him as a little child being abused and thinking abuse means love. I figure empathy. Why else would somebody put themselves out to be abused if not to reenact some childhood trauma? We walk at the same pace in silence until he says, "I'm actually a shy man." He tells me he's glad we met and how I can find him on the internet if I